I might have made a big mistake. As most of you guys know, viewers can send in tips or cool clips in the Lowlander Discord server. But ever since I made this video, the ultimate red guide, I see so many people sending in clips of red plays. Tons of clips of players hiding in small little corners. Getting behind the enemy and knifing them in the back.
Get out of my way.
Oh, no! Or, you know, this Viper trick that everybody hates. It was a fun ride, but this has to stop. And don't get me wrong, getting the enemies with the red play always feels very satisfying. But in the end, those spots are called red spots for a reason. So, to all the red players, shame. 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 But still, we have to end this chapter together. So in this video, I will show the best red plays that got sent in. And after that, show you guys some real tips and tricks you can use. And if somebody is wondering where my sudden hate for red players comes from, it has nothing to do with me getting killed twice at this spot on Haven. What? In the corner, what in the corner? Of course not, my friends. I mean, yeah. Anyway, if you ever make nice plays or use cool tricks during the rounds, don't forget to send them in the Lowlander Discord server for a chance to win a battle pass. This video's winner is Wowie, congrats. And if you have no idea how to record your clips, then the sponsor of this video, Outplayed, can help you with that. Outplayed is a video capturing app designed for gamers. It's very simple to use, just download the app, give your preferable settings and start recording. You can see all the in-game events on the timeline, when you died, made a headshot or got that beautiful ace. If you can get an ace, of course, because I always die after I get 4 kills.
I want ace, please ace. He's dead.
No, my ace! If you are able to get an ace and want to share that specific round or make another cool play, of course, the app has a built-in editor. Just go to the editor, edit the round out, render it and share it with all your friends on YouTube, Discord or Twitter, for example. Or instead of recording the full game, you could also just press Ctrl F3 to record the last round. It's very simple, right? And did I mention that this app is completely free? So if you want to try it out, you can download Outplayed with the link in the description. Big thanks to Outplayed for supporting this channel, and now let's see some red plays. Let's start with some classic red plays and get more creative as the video goes. First of all, reds are overall scared for people, right? So what do? They hide a little bit. Smokes are perfect hiding spots, so when they see a smoke, they of course gonna chill in it.
See ya.
I mean, I can't blame them, it works a lot of the time, especially if you make it seem like the smoke has another purpose. Like chilling in this smoke on split. It looks like a one-way, but in fact, it's just a red spot. Another way reds will use smokes is find that small little gap in the smoke. I actually don't want to admit it, but this is a good tip. Often when the enemies are smoking something, there will be a small gap, so use it to get some nice kills. Or try to look over smokes to create a head glitch spot, like Mills Fadils. Now, a question for you. Where do reds live? In sewers, of course, so this is a perfect spot for a red player. Next to the sewer on ascent, in this small corner, waiting to bite the enemies. These basic spots for reds might be a bit boring, and often things like this will happen if you use one of these spots. So to spice these spots up a little bit, you could use abilities, like a sage wall and praying that the enemies don't spot you. Interesting, but you could be more creative. Instead of using an ability to make an existing red spot better, you could create a whole new one. Like placing your killjoy turret on a high spot and then watching in between the legs of your turret. You'll be way harder to see for the enemies this way. Or simply hide behind the harbor wall, viper wall or phoenix wall. Try to jump on the rotating door.
One dead.
And then we have the Acre the Dog Cypher setups. You've probably seen them on TikTok and I've also shown a lot of these setups in some of my videos. So I will not go in depth how to do them, but just look at this clip. You get the point.
Spike planted.
All these red plays mentioned before are basically just players relying on enemies not checking certain corners. And I mean, it's working. Just like this Omen trick from some Egypt.
Which column?
What do you mean, which column? The only one on the server.
Yeah. I don't know.
But now let's talk about some red plays that I have to give some respect to. These plays are not relying on enemies not checking certain things, but about outsmarting the enemies. There are a lot of ways to outsmart the enemies, but the most basic way is this sage wall. You might have seen this trick. Simply push and place your wall behind you. The enemies will probably think you're on site, but in fact you push further and you could get some nice kills. Now look at this clip.
What the hell?
Yeah, that's just disrespectful. He knew that the enemies was out of bullets, so he used his knife. One of those plays a red player would do. Let's get more advanced with this insane trick of Wowie. When you play on the attacker side, go with 4 people to one side and let one player with the spike go to the other side. And here's the twist. The solo player needs to push, try to get as many enemies as possible, and then needs to die. When this happens, of course, the spike will lay on the ground, so all the enemies will go towards that side, towards the spike, of course. And then, when that happens, you push with 4 people towards the other side and use the Omen ultimate to pick it up. It's genius, and you could even try to get in the enemy's head by using all chat.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna say that.
Sounds like he's hating on Jet, but in the end, it was all planned, so he could plant the spike on the other side. You know what? I think we're getting out of the red place territory. This was a very smart trick in my opinion, so let me show you more smart tricks. When you play Jet and you're standing in front of a wall or a smoke, you could updraft and then ping where you see the enemy. This way you know exactly where to shoot when you come down. Well played, Blue Toad.
Here.
Dude, that's crazy.
You know what else is crazy? This Harbor plus Yoru combo. First, Harbor throws his smoke somewhere, over here on Haven for example. And after that, Yoru uses his teleport inside the smoke. Now he can safely teleport behind the enemies and you can make a crossfire with Harbor and Yoru together. This is how it looks like. Well played.
Fast, 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 fast.
Now a crazy sofa trick or a glitch, you'll be the judge. Stand in this corner and aim at the white spot on the pipe. Then shoot your arrow with 0 charges and 2 bounces. It will land on this lamp. But the cool thing is that it will peak just above the rafters, spotting the enemy so you could go for some wallbang kills. I know, right? It's a gross red lineup, but it's a good gross red lineup. While we're talking about gross red lineups, here's another one on Hell. Back in the day you could throw your Phoenix molly over here and it will clip above you onto rafters. But now it sadly doesn't work anymore, unless you are using a specific lineup. Here's how that one goes. Stand all the way in this corner and aim at the corner of the lamps. Easy peasy. It will hit the enemies above you and you might get some kills.
One enemy remaining.
Oh, let's go!
And you know what? Let's do one more red lineup on Hell, just because I really love this one. Stand on these boxes, crouch and aim at the corner of this cloth. After that throw your KO flashbang and jump 1 box higher. You won't get flashed, but the enemies will get flashed. A nice one way. I showed this lineup in last video, but I didn't show someone making a kill with it. Look at this clip.
One enemy remaining.
I mean, that's just disrespectful. Now look at this combo. Honestly, Breach plus Brimstone is overpowered.
One enemy remaining.
Did you know that when you use your Omen ultimate towards Heaven on Haven, you of course end up in Heaven. If you want to go under Heaven, you have to aim a little bit to the back, over there. Honestly, I've done a whole series with Omen, but I never knew this. Well played, just Jujin. And while we're talking about Omen, did you know that Omen could clip his smoke on the rotating door on Lotus? Pretty handy if you could time it right for when the enemies are opening the door. Now a tricky you could use with the Astra stars. When you place a star down, you could retract it and then jump in the smoke. Of course it will disappear in like 1 second, but when it disappears you might catch the enemies off guard. Just like George did.
Covering it.
He said that we have to ignore the Jet in the background. Nothing happened after this. Anyway, back to the red spots. If you want to use a red spot like this one on Icebox, at least be smart about it. Don't just wait till the enemies push, but do something. With Yoru, throw a flash against that crane for example. All the enemies will get flashed and you can get some nice kills. So the conclusion of this video, there are a lot more creative ways to get the enemies than just sitting in a corner with the shotgun. I really want to say that we could close the red chapter over here, but in the end, red will be reds. And I bet that in the very next game you will get killed by one of those nasty players. Red! You little red! Oh my...